We're now learning here, based on Bloomberg reporting, that Robinhood has drawn down some of its credit lines with banks. This, according to people familiar with the matter. We have reached out to Robinhood for a comment on this, and we have yet to hear back. But again, the reporting right now saying that they have tapped at least several hundred millions of dollars, according to the people familiar with the situation.
All right, joining us with the latest, Bloomberg, Sonali Basak. Sonali, thank you very much for joining us. What do we know about what it was about the trading over the last several days that put such a strain on Robinhood?
Well, remember, Joe, for Robinhood in particular, right? The other big retail brokerages make their money in a lot of different ways, right? Big diversified businesses. But for Robinhood, a lot of its money comes from payment for order flow. Beyond that, customer service needs, margin. There's a lot of other things that in this wild market they'll need money for. So what do we know about their existing financial condition? They have raised money in equity from their VCs, but they have revolving credit lines, and what they've done here is draw on their credit lines. We don't know all the reasons why, but we do know that they have significant financing needs in moments like this.
And unlike the likes of an Interactive Brokers or E-Trade, or there was when we interviewed Interactive Brokers chairman, he was sort of talking about the role of the clearing houses, and he said many things, but one of the things he felt that was perhaps some brokerages, not his, were going to be left carrying some sort of baby here. Is that what we insinuate by the hundreds of millions being drawn down by Robinhood?
And, you know, it's really, really hard to insinuate right now, too, because counterparty risk and making sure that everyone is stepping up for their clients in times like these are things that are of utmost concern to all the brokerages, let alone Robinhood.
Yeah. But here's the deal. We heard in the earlier statement that Robinhood made when they basically said that starting tomorrow they're going to allow people some of those restrictions to be lifted. They also made a point of making it clear that they weren't being forced to do that by the market makers themselves, that this was a decision that they made on their own. We heard a similar comment earlier from Interactive Brokers that this was basically something they did on their own. Have we heard from the market makers? Have we heard from the counterparties here as to what they have had to say about this?
Yeah, actually, very importantly, we did hear from Citadel and Citadel Securities, Citadel, the hedge fund, which said that they did not have much to do with this, right? That the hedge fund is not involved in or responsible for any retail broker's decision to stop trading in any way. Citadel Securities, which is one of the biggest market maker in U.S. equity markets, and also works closely with Robinhood, as we know from many filings. Citadel Securities has not instructed or otherwise caused any brokerage firm, and they work with all the other brokerages as well, to suspend or limit trading. So we did hear from the market makers. They also didn't hear from the regulators to do this. These were unilateral decisions made by the retail brokerages, right? It's not that the SEC told Robinhood to stop trading. They were worried about their clients, their money, and whatnot.
We've had this ferocious stock market rally that's really started last spring, and it basically has never taken a breather. And when you have such a big rally, sometimes you get hiccups eventually. On your bingo card, did you have the sort of volatility coming because the stock went up too much?
You know what's funny about this? Yes, because for days here, the CEOs of many investment banks, they were not looking back just to 2000 and 1999. They were looking back to the 60s. And they were saying that this reminds them of every history book that they've read. And there have been GameStops in the past before. So the question is, was Robinhood's executives ready for a moment like this?
And Sonali, I'm not sure I had it on my bingo card that we'd start to see Twitter fights break out between the founder of one of the biggest hedge funds, Stephen Cohen, versus Dave Portnoy of Barstool. But from your perspective, what are the hedge funds carry here? What are the losses here? Everyone seems to be trying to feel as to whether if there should be on the other foot, and if there are losses with retail, we wouldn't have seen a closure of these sorts of trading opportunities. What do you think?
That was not on my bingo card, Caroline. But the other interesting thing for me is there's a major hedge fund here, Dan Sundime at D1, that has recently invested a lot of money in Robinhood itself pre-IPO, and it is one of the hedge funds that have gotten burned by a lot of these short squeezes. So, but beyond that, the hedge funds that I talked to today are just happy that it seems to be waning.